The Garden Report is brought to you by Fanduel, the exclusive wagering partner of the CLNS Media Network.
Hey, Brian Manning here, Josue Pavon wrapping up the first day of training camp, media day here at the Auerbach Center. We talked a little bit about Brown and Tatum's workouts going into the season, Rob's departure, and with Rob gone, I think someone they looked at as a starter on this team. There's a hole to fill there, and it's easy to say. Maybe it's going to be Jrue and Derrick White together in that backcourt, but that moves Al Horford to the bench. And Horford, I think by my count, has only come off the bench 13 times in his career. So is that something he'll react well to or perform well in, or should they think about keeping him there? Where would you go if you had to decide between Derrick White and Al Horford in that starting lineup this year?
Well, considering where he's at in his career and the long road that the Celtics team is hoping to go on in terms of going to the NBA Finals, I wouldn't mind having Al come off the bench. However, when it comes to marquee matchups and throughout the playoffs, I think you put him into the starting five. I know that sounds a little wacky and it sounds kind of like out of sorts in the sense of, finding continuity with the starting five, but I don't think it really is as complicated when you think about he's not going to be playing the second night of back-to-backs. You're going to limit a lot of his games towards the end of the season. So, I mean, I want to call him an official starter, but I don't think you're going to see it as often as we saw the last two seasons. So I want to see Derrick White in the mix. I love the pairing of Derrick White and Jrue Holiday in the backcourt, that defensive juggernaut. I love that. And I think you put the three guys up front. I mean, Porzingis, Tatum, Brown. You got Al anchoring the second unit. I think Peyton Pritchard can get valuable minutes now in that backcourt coming off the bench. He's got to prove it, of course, but I believe he can. I think he's at that point in his career where he can be one of the first guys off the bench. This is a great opportunity for him. And I think, throughout the second unit, you figure things out. But in terms of ending games, putting Al back into the starting five, depending on matchups, is something I think is on the table. But that's just the go-to starting five you'll see more often, I think, is going to be without Al, with Porzingis, Tatum, and Brown, and that defensive backcourt.
Missoula said it's undecided. Asked Horford if he prefers to start. Avoided the question, but basically said he's glad to be here and he'll do whatever's needed for winning, and the coach is going to have to figure that out. Similar sentiment from Porzingis when asked about how Rob's absence changes his role. Brad, I think, gave a little bit of a hint here on where they could go, though.
Some open gyms that guys have played, and we've been really encouraged and impressed by some of the people that people don't talk about on our team, and a lot. And so we'll see how that all plays itself out. But yeah, we talked about trying to balance that. I think Jrue becoming available obviously wasn't something that was predicted. And we thought about it not only in terms of however Joe decides to start the game, but certainly how the end of the game would look and who we can put out there. And you just couldn't pass on an opportunity to get a guy like Jrue. But yeah, we will continue to look at the best balance for our team. I do think that we'll still play some double bigs. The nice part is that Kristaps can play with any of our bigs. Al can play with any of our bigs, and go from there.
The CLNS Media Network is powered by Fanduel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and get in on the action with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose.
That's where Al comes into play, I feel like. I don't know, maybe I'm reading too deep into it, but that's the way I see it, at least right now.
Yeah, so I lean in that direction. The challenge, obviously, is if you start Horford and Porzingis together, who do you have coming off the bench? I think they like Kornet. Brad said there's some guys in the gym people don't talk about as much who they've really liked so far through the preseason. Is that him? Is that Neemias Queta, who came in on a two-way deal here as a center? They also signed Wenyen Gabriel. He's been in the gym for a couple weeks working out with them. So could be any number of those guys that they like to fill that role behind them if they want to start those. But I think your prediction's right. It's not typical, but they might go on a matchup basis in terms of who's resting, who they're playing on that night, and who needs a little more rest in a given week. So I think they'll veer between those, but if Brad gave any indication there, I think you might see Horford and Porzingis open games together and then quickly go to White off the bench as that sixth man. And the good thing is, White, more than any player I've ever seen, doesn't care where he's playing, doesn't care how much he's playing. And if Horford is going to play better as a starter, I know the commenters are going to hate to hear it here, but you might get the best out of both players. My only issue is you really got the best out of White as a starter last year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think having someone like Holiday in the lineup only amplifies that, honestly. I mean, you look at
it would be a great duo.
You look at his confidence right now, and I don't think, it wavers at all going into the season, but having Holiday there only amplifies it. And you could tell how excited he is about that, which is what he talked about as well during media day. Obviously talking about he's going to miss Marcus Smart and the relationship that they had, but everyone just seems generally excited about Jrue Holiday. And I feel like when you look at someone like Derrick White in particular, like how can you not be, Yeah.
He said, I'm not worried about it, and I'm excited to play with him. Gave some hint that contract negotiations are starting as well. They're going to have to sort that out with Holiday. White's extension eligible, and Jared White's report, as we've hit on here on CLNS, that Pritchard's conversations about his deal are beginning to develop as well. So some money issues in the backcourt too, another factor in all of this, but guys aren't thinking about that. They want to get out there and just start playing together. And the good thing is none of these guys are going to sit entirely. They're all going to have major roles, everybody we mentioned here. And we'll see Sunday when they play their first preseason game what direction Joe might be leaning in there. For Josue, Pavon, Bobby Manning, let me know what your starting lineup would be below. And we'll see you later tonight on the Garden Report for a live edition of the show talking about all this and more.
With the busy fall season already in swing, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals for jam-packed days. Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Head to factormeals.com/newsfeed50 and use code newsfeed50 to get 50% off. That's code newsfeed50 at factormeals.com/newsfeed50 to get 50% off.
Ever wish you could navigate the betting field with the confidence of a pro? Enter OddsR. They're not a sports book, but they're the sports betting advisor you always needed. It's like having a playbook for smarter bets right in your pocket. I've been absolutely loving the experience, and I think you will too, especially since Celtics All Access listeners get a 30-day free trial. Elevate your game day and join the smart betting revolution. Go get it at oddsr.com/Celtics. That's oddsr.com/Celtics.